Hello and welcome to the Counselor Advocacy for the Jewish University Experience Jewish Student Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. Each will have 6 minutes to share more about their institution, but will be around for the entire session to answer any questions. My name is Jenny and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. However, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website. This presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Jewish Student Fair. That's strivescan.com/Jewish Student Fair. I'd now like to turn it over to our first presenter, Rutgers University.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Drew Newitt. I'm the New York Metro Area Admissions Representative for Rutgers, New Brunswick. And I just need to go ahead and share my screen, I believe. You'd think we'd have this down pat by this point in the pandemic. All right. Without further ado, let me get started. So Rutgers University is the State University of New Jersey. I specifically represent Rutgers, New Brunswick, which is the flagship of the 3 Rutgers locations. It is in a small city in central New Jersey called New Brunswick, about 45-minute train ride south of New York City, specifically Penn Station in Manhattan, and about a 90-minute train ride in the other direction from Philadelphia. We are a large school as a public university. However, we don't feel as big as you might think we would, because instead of having a single large campus, we're actually comprised of 5 smaller campus neighborhoods or campus communities, all within either next to each other or within a mile or 2 of downtown New Brunswick. Each campus is kind of self-contained, so each one has its own residence facilities, academic classroom and lab buildings, student centers, athletic facilities, dining facilities. But all the facilities of all 5 of the campus neighborhoods are open to every Rutgers University student. You really have a lot of options, because if you prefer living in an urban environment, you could choose to live on the College Avenue campus, which is in downtown New Brunswick. That's a picture of that in the center here. Alternatively, Bush and Livingston campuses are more suburban, and then Cook and Douglas campuses are suburban, even semi-rural. We actually have a working farm on the Cook campus. So if you really like to stop by on the way to class and visit, and maybe play with the baby goats, you can do that. Student life, as I said before, about 36,000, actually almost 37,000 undergraduate students attend Rutgers, New Brunswick, including one of the largest Jewish student populations in the entire United States of America. A lot going on at the university, everything from Division I NCAA athletics, club and intramural sports, to over 700 different student clubs and organizations, including more than 24 Jewish student organizations. Many of our student groups have a philanthropic slant to them, including, for example, the Dance Marathon, which is the largest dance marathon in the country every year. And they've raised over $1 million annually just through that single event for charity. We do have Chabad and Hillel right on campus, on the College Avenue campus in New Brunswick, as well as leadership seminars, birthright sponsorships, and abundant study abroad opportunities to over 150 different locations around the world, honestly. And our students come not only from around the world and New Jersey and all 50 United States. And here's some scenes from around campus. As you can guess, that was a home football game in the upper corner. The learning experience at Rutgers, we do offer over 120 different majors. On top of that, many minors, concentrations, as well as accelerated degree programs in areas including engineering, law, medicine, health sciences, and education. The majority of our classes are fewer than 30 students, although admittedly, there is a very wide range of class sizes at the university. We house about 175 different research centers and institutes on campus, everything from political science to astronomy and astrophysics. We also have the Residential Honors College, as well as school-based honors programs at the university. We're not only concerned with your success as a student, but also after you leave our hallowed halls. That's why over 600 employers come to campus every year to meet with our students and our upcoming graduates. We also offer a variety of career exploration seminars, as well as things like interview workshops and career counseling for our students. So we're going to make sure we give you the tools you need to be successful, whether it's in employment, graduate school, or professional school after you leave Rutgers, New Brunswick. Rutgers is structured with 11 different undergraduate schools of study. However, only the 7 you see in red at the top of the screen are available to apply to as first-year applicants. So if you are a high school student applying to Rutgers, you can apply to the School of Arts and Sciences, our pharmacy school, the School of Engineering, the Rutgers Business School, Mason Gross School of the Arts, which is our Fine and Performing Arts Conservatory, the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, and finally, the School of Nursing. If you are admitted to more than one of these schools, and you can apply to up to 3 on a single application, you can only enroll in one, however. If you are, for example, interested in changing schools once you've started at Rutgers, that is a distinct possibility. Most of our schools do allow school-to-school transfers. Finally, the application process, pretty straightforward, but different than some schools in a number of ways. We do accept the Rutgers application or the Coalition College application. Now, here's the way applying to Rutgers is different than a lot of schools. We do not ask you to have your high school send us an official transcript if you are a first-year applicant. Instead, you will submit what's called the self-reported academic record. You're going to take a student copy of your transcript and put all that data on your self-reported academic record. We are test optional through 2024 as at the moment, and we have a $70 application fee. 2 different methods of applying to Rutgers, or 2 different deadlines, I should say. Regular decision deadline is December 1st of your senior year of high school. And we also offer early action, which is non-binding, and that deadline is November 1st of your senior year. The only difference between the 2 application plans is you will find out about a month earlier your admissions decision at Rutgers if you apply by November 1st.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And a reminder to our participants that if you have questions for any of our schools here at any time, please feel free to put those questions in the Q&A and I'll be happy to answer them. Up next, we have Vassar College.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kami Lungu. I'm an admissions officer at Vassar College. My regions include Manhattan and also many international regions such as the Middle East and Central Asia. And joining me today is actually one of my colleagues from Vassar, Rabbi Brian. So he will be more than happy to introduce himself after me.
Hey everyone, I'm Rabbi Brian Mann, the current Racklin Director for Jewish Student Life and Assistant Director in a really long office that is essentially the equivalency of the chaplaincy office at Vassar College.
Okay, awesome. So I have a quick presentation, and then Rabbi Brian will specifically share a little bit about Jewish life on Vassar's campus. Awesome. So once again, Vassar is a small private liberal arts college. I'm located in Poughkeepsie, New York. We're about 2 hours north of New York City, a quick train ride away, and also equidistant to Albany. Located in the scenic Hudson Valley, a very dynamic part of New York State, close to both sort of the urban, to 2 urban centers, in addition to wonderful, quaint, small towns such as, Poughkeepsie, where we're located, Rhinebeck and Beacon, in addition to easy access to many of the wonderful nature here in New York State, such as the Catskills and Deconics. Vassar, once again, small school, 2,500 students, a very diverse community, despite its size. Students are coming from all 50 states, 79 countries. 36% are domestic students of color, with 14% first-generation students. When looking at the academics at Vassar, the big thing, of course, is the liberal arts. An education with a focus on small classes, an average class size of 15, an 8-to-1 student-faculty ratio with a lot of classes focusing on critical reading, writing, and speaking. It's a very interdisciplinary school, and the way that we have this is by having an open curriculum. With the open curriculum, we do not have a set list of core classes. Instead, we have a small number of base courses. This includes a first-year writing seminar, a quantitative skills course, and courses towards language proficiency. In addition, you have to declare a major, over 51 majors and 67 correlates. That's something we call minors here at Vassar. And if you take into account the major requirements in those base courses, you'll still have around 2/3 of your class load at Vassar, very much open for you to explore anything you'd like. This allows a lot of personalization and flexibility during your time here at Vassar. Ease of double majoring, picking up correlates is quite easy as well. And once again, providing a strong interdisciplinary education, but also a focus on sort of, the student and the student's ability to have a very personalized and flexible experience. Here at Vassar, also we have a strong emphasis on experiential learning. As you can see, about 90% of students engage in an internship or fieldwork during their time at Vassar. Over 130 study abroad programs in over 60 countries, about half of our students studying abroad. In addition, we have a very robust research program because it is only undergrads. Here at Vassar, professors need students to help them with their projects, and many times it is, exclusively, it is their students and the students that are here on Vassar's campus. Here we have a list of some of our sort of flagship summer research programs, such as the Ursi and Fort Scholars Program, in addition to a wide variety of independent research programs as well. Student life here on campus is quite rich. It's a very residential campus, with 96% of students living on campus in a house system very similar to Hogwarts, with each house having their own sort of mascot and colors and traditions. And I think that's something we very much pride ourselves into. Is a very active student body on campus. As Rabbi will talk a little bit more about sort of the Jewish life here. When it comes with sort of the general life on campus, 150 student clubs and organizations, ranging from publications to a cappella, improv, student theater, in addition to 23 varsity sports and multiple intramural and club sports as well. After Vassar, just a little sort of primer. Within a year of graduation, about 9 of the class of 2019, around 3/4 of students actually go into the workforce within a graduation, with an additional 25% pursuing graduate and or fellowship opportunities. A lot of the work here on Vassar's campus is done through the Career Development Office, which is a wonderful office that provides help when it comes with internships, finding internship opportunities, jobs, resume help, but also they host a wide variety of networking opportunities in which Vassar alum actually come and are involved with, such as Major Palooza, in which you have the opportunity to sort of make those connections and network with Vassar alum that share the major that you have declared. Once again, thank you so much. My name is Kamil, Missions Officer at Vassar, and I'll sort of stop the screen share and I'll hand over the baton to Rabbi Brian.
Thank you so much, Camille. So focusing on Jewish life, we are about a 10 to 15% Jewish campus. So numbers wise, that looks like around 250 to 300 Jewish students on campus any given year. We have 3 different Jewish organizations on campus: Vassar Jewish Union, which is our Hillel equivalent, Chabad Jewish Community, as well as Jews of Color Caucus, focusing on the needs and engagement of BIPOC Jewish students. All programming is very student-centered and very student-engaged. I'm here to support and mentor and help with logistics, but really when it comes to the face of Jewish programming, the face of Jewish life, it's really in our students' hands. I'm so excited to talk more and meet any of you interested in Jewish life at Vassar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank to both of you for all of that information about Vassar. Up next, we have George Mason University.
Hi, folks. My name is Eva Bermesco. I'm the Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions at George Mason University. And I'm excited to kind of quickly share the basics of Mason with you this evening. Here's the view of the back of campus from the pond. So Mason is 50 years old this year, and we've grown a lot in just that amount of time. We are the largest public institution in the largest public university in Virginia. We are located in Northern Virginia, right outside Washington, D.C. in Fairfax. We are a Tier 1 research institution. So if you like to learn by doing an investigation, you'll have ample opportunity to do that as an undergraduate. That's a virtue of being a little bit younger and not so stuck in our ways. We really provide any opportunity that our students are going to be excited about as soon as you get to campus. Not a lot of making you wait. We are at about 37,000 Patriots total, including our graduate students, 25,000 or so undergrads. We are the second largest residential campus in Virginia, and we have students from all over the country and all over the world. So typical of what you might find in a large public university, we have lots of majors and minors and ways for you to customize your course of study. We have accelerated master's programs in case you'd like to earn your graduate degree in a 5-year time frame rather than the typical 4 and then 2 more. And yet we behave as a much smaller institution a lot of the time. The class sizes are those of a much smaller school. Student faculty ratio, when you're learning new things, it's going to be a professor at the front of the room sharing that information with you. And that's why you came to school. And that's also a great place for you to learn both from career academics, but also expert practitioners. So we are, as I mentioned, located right outside Washington, D.C. And so our faculty are former elected officials. They are, Department of Justice lawyers. They've got, friends that they will also then invite to campus so you can talk to them and meet them. So that's the on-campus advantage of being proximal to the city. The off-campus advantage, of course, being the very, very rich environment which we find ourselves in terms of internships and job prospects. There's a lot in between Mason and the district as well in the way of federal contractors and engineering firms, both cyber and mechanical. So that is something that our students are very prepared to pursue as they graduate. So students that seek us out are often excited about computer science programs, engineering programs, potentially are intending to work for one of the alphabet agencies in Washington, D.C. And so we give them a lot of opportunity to try the things that they're learning as they're learning them, whether it is through research or an internship or potentially study abroad. We have an incredibly robust study abroad program, and Mason is also the most diverse institution in the Commonwealth of Virginia and among the most diverse in the country. And what that means is you're going to meet people who have had different lives and different experiences than you've had, but you'll also be able to find folks that are like yourself and who feel like home. And that is something that we're very proud to be able to provide specifically to Jewish students via Mason Hillel, an incredibly active organization on campus, whether you're looking for a place to be weekly or just, sort of at holidays. They also sponsor trips. We bring a large group of students on what's called a fact finders trip every summer and winter. And those students who are both Jewish students at the university and those who are learning more about the culture all get to kind of come together and have that experience. We have Jewish Greek life on campus. So I know I talk with a lot of families, and students and parents want to know that there's going to be a solid core of a Jewish community on campus, and that brings that feeling of comfort, and super glad that we're able to offer that to our students. In addition, if you're looking for anything else, almost 500 student organizations. We are a Division I athletics team. Big stuff going on during the college basketball season. And if you are in the area, come see a game or something else at the arena. Lots to love and lots to see. I'd encourage all those of you who are getting a nice and early start on this to pursue an early action deadline with us. That'll make you eligible for honors college consideration if you've chosen to apply to that, if you want a little bit of a smaller feel within the big university. And you'll hear back from us quickly with your admission decision and any scholarship from the admissions office. And of course, you always have until May 1st to make that final decision. So it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach out to the admissions office, generally speaking, or I'm going to put my email in the chat here in case you'd like to reach out to me directly. And I can also connect you with Rabbi David, who I work with a ton on, students and families who are looking for their home at Mason. So thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much. A reminder to our participants to use that Q&A function if you have questions for any of our schools here at any time during the presentations, and we'll be happy to answer them. Up next, we have Cuny Kingsborough Community College.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Lisa Kligowitz, and I'm the Senior Admissions Advisor at Kingsborough Community College. Kingsborough is a community college, as I just mentioned. We are a two-year school. We do not require SATs. We've eliminated the testing feature. Let me just try and get the full screen, sorry. Our campus is over 70 acres. As you can see in the photo below on the left, we're located in Manhattan Beach, Brooklyn, which is just on the opposite side of Sheepshead Bay, or just above Brighton Beach. I'm trying to get this, hold tight. We're accessible by the B train and the Q train to Brighton Beach. We have a free shuttle that takes you to the campus as well if you were to take the train, or the B1 or the B49 for those of you who are local. We are a commuter school, so we do not have dorms because we are a commuter school and an associate degree program. We are the only CUNY school that has a beach on the campus. And it is quite beautiful in the summer. All of our buildings are connected, so when the weather is cold, because it can be quite cold in the wintertime and rainy time, you can get from one building to the next without having to leave the campus. We are a very diverse population. We speak over 73 languages and come from 142 national backgrounds. We do have a large population of Jewish students that come, most local students, not many international Jewish students. However, we do have a large international population of students. Some of the reasons why you should choose Kingsborough: we are the #1 best community college in New York. We have over 50 degree programs. We have a unique calendar. If you're in state and you get in-state tuition, our tuition is capped at $2,600, and you can take anywhere from 12 to 26 credits in one semester. We've been voted one of the top 150 community colleges in the United States. We have the highest graduation rate amongst CUNY community colleges, which we're super proud of. And we have transfer articulation agreements, which means that if you graduate from Kingsborough and choose a transfer college that we have an agreement with, all of your credits will transfer, which is very important. So an example I will just say is Brooklyn College for Education. You study at Kingsborough 2 years in education studies, graduate, you can seamlessly transfer to Brooklyn College. All of your credits would transfer. If you look at the national average for college tuition, you can see between private, public, and in-state colleges, the prices that are listed here. And as I mentioned, a full-time student who's in-state pays $2,626, capped at that amount. We have a dual semester, so our fall has a winter session. So we're very flexible. You can take 9 credits in the fall and maybe take 6 credits in the winter to break up your semester, or you could take 12 credits in the fall and 6 credits or 8 credits in the winter, sort of to fast track. If you want to graduate in 2 years, 15 credits is recommended per semester. However, if you take more credits, a lot of times students can graduate in 1.5 years. Not to say that every student graduates in 2 years, but there's a very flexible calendar with Kingsborough. As I mentioned, we have over 50 majors. Liberal arts is one of the largest majors at our school because we do have over 10,000 students that attend. However, that doesn't mean our most popular majors like nursing aren't as popular. It's just that they have a smaller cohort of students. Liberal arts is just one of the foundational years at the college. And if you study 2 years and transfer, you save a lot of money and then maybe transfer to your senior college. But we have tons of STEM majors, some that are exclusive to Kingsborough as a sleep technology program, which only requires an associate degree and students can get a job right away in the workforce. Maritime technology is also exclusive to Kingsborough. Anyone interested in mechanics of boats or learning how to drive a boat, become a captain, you can get a job on any of the New York City ferries. But we do have pretty much tons of majors. Business administration, computer science are some of the more popular ones as well. Everybody should fill out a FAFSA application because I want to say 8 out of 10 students come to our college for free with financial assistance. And if you are a New York State resident graduating from a New York high school or with your GED, you can be eligible for the Excelsior Scholarship, which is free in-state tuition for families that do not exceed $125,000 income. We have amazing supportive services at Kingsborough. Our student life is very robust. We have over 50 clubs and organizations, and that does include religious clubs. So you can meet like-minded students that are just like yourself, but obviously not just religious clubs. There's over 50. There's something for everybody. And if there isn't a club that you're interested in, you can always petition and start a club. You just need a group of students and the will and the desire. We have accessibility for students that might have had an IEP in high school. So anybody that received any type of resources in high school still receive those resources in college, which is very, very important. Our resource men's, women's, and counseling center are all free for our students, free tutoring. New American Center provides legal counseling. And we do have a career services department as well, which is very amazing. We offer internships for our students. We do resume workshops, Dress for Success, you name it, you can find it at Kingsborough. We really want to see our students succeed, and we want to support them the whole time at the college and really prepare them for their senior college. We do have honors program as well. I think my time is up. So if there's any questions, I just want to mention we do have a fully online program. You must be vaccinated for CUNY in order to attend in-person classes, and $65 to apply. We do rolling admission, so you can apply all the way through the start of college. We don't start till September. All that's required is your high school transcript or your GED. I will post my information in the chat box. Thank you so much for having me. And that went really fast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that's a great reminder to use that Q&A function if you have questions for any of our schools here during the presentations. Up next, we have University of California, Los Angeles.
So much, and good evening, everyone. My name is Jamaica Williams. I'm an assistant director of freshman recruitment at UCLA. I know we have a short amount of time together today, so I'm going to try to share as much information as I can in these 6 minutes as possible. So if you're not familiar, UCLA is one of the 9 undergraduate campuses within the University of California system. We were most recently ranked the #1 public institution for the 5th year in a row. We have about 30,000 undergraduate or 32,000 undergraduate students at the university and about 14,000 graduate and professional students here at UCLA as well. If you're not familiar with our location, we're in a neighborhood called Westwood, which is in the West LA area of Los Angeles. We're about 5 miles from the Pacific Ocean, so very close to both Santa Monica and Venice beaches. We're about 12 miles from downtown LA and about 12 miles from Los Angeles International Airport. Other things to consider, we have over 125 majors available at the university and 90 or so minors as well. And we're broken down into colleges and schools at UCLA. So our College of Letters and Science houses the vast majority of the majors that we offer at the university, including our undecided options. So perfectly fine to come to UCLA undecided. We don't expect you to have it all figured out at 17 or 18. Most students aren't declaring their major till towards the end of their sophomore year anyway, so you do have a little bit of time to figure it out. And what's an important distinction to note is that for first-year applicants applying to majors within the college, we're actually not reviewing you by major. And again, that's because we're expecting you're probably going to change your major anyway, so we're not putting a lot of emphasis on what that selection is at the freshman level. However, we also offer 6 specialty or professional schools at the university, and those do admit based upon major. So that's going to be arts and architecture, engineering, music, nursing, theater, film, and television, as well as our newest school, which is public affairs, which currently admits through the college. But for those other 5 schools, you should expect a more rigorous process in terms of the application, as many of them also require a supplemental application in addition to the UC application, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. Although we have a large student population at the university, The average, about 2/3 of the classes on campus are going to be 30 students or less. So more classes than not are relatively small for a university our size. However, you should also expect to have larger lecture classes as well. But when you do have those larger lectures, you're going to have a once-a-week discussion course with a smaller subset of that lecture, normally around 50 or so students. We're also very proud of the fact that over 30% of our students on campus are first generation as well. But it really speaks to the diversity and variety of students that we have at the university. We have representation pretty much from all 50 states, as well as about 100 different countries as well. There are over 1,000 clubs and organizations for students to get involved in at the university. We also have Hillel UCLA at UCLA as well. So definitely a robust community of students for you to engage with and interact with during your time at the university. We're also very proud of the fact that our students on average carry less than the national average in terms of student loan debt, with about 60% of those students having no debt at all. And again, we have a very high graduation rate at UCLA, but we also have a very high, over 90% retention rate of first-year students as well. We're also a Research One institution. We receive about $1 billion in research funding every year. So students can get involved in research as early as their first year. There are 2 undergraduate research centers on campus, which help students identify and apply for available research opportunities. So it's definitely something that's encouraged here at the university. We're also a residential campus at UCLA. And this coming fall will be the first year that we're able to guarantee on-campus housing for all 4 years for first-year students and 2 years for transfer students. So that's something that we're really excited about. We'll be the only institution in the UC to have that as well. So if you're not familiar, you can only apply to UCLA utilizing the UC application. We're not a coalition application or common application school. However, you can apply to all 9 UC undergraduate campuses through the UC application. So that's the bonus of that as well. It's about a $70 application fee per campus. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that. There is a fee waiver available through the application as well for students who qualify. So again, a lot of different resources available to you at the university. I know I'm coming up on time, so I do encourage you to scan that QR code that appears on the left-hand side of your screen. That will take you to our Linktree page, which will offer up a lot of other resources in terms of understanding application resources, what we're looking at in terms of holistic review when we're reviewing for admission as well as my email address down below in case you want to follow up with some additional questions. But I'll turn it back over to Jeannie to get us to our next university.
Thank you so much. And as we come upon our last university, a reminder to use that Q&A function if you do have any questions as we come to a close today. Up next, we have Jerusalem College of Technology.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zachary Rothblatt, and I'm representing the Jerusalem College of Technology, and I'm also here with Judy Leibovitz, who is my colleague. If you are considering the idea of learning abroad, of studying in Israel, then you should highly consider JCT, Jerusalem College of Technology, Machon Lev. We are an international program that allows American students, the only one that allows in an Orthodox environment, a Jewish religious environment, to study and pursue a degree. I'd like to show you shortly a little promotional video, which will give you a better understanding of our school and then be open to give you a little bit of a description.
Hey, for your degree, it's important to find the right fit.
Especially if you're considering studying here in Israel.
You want to get a good education and set yourself up to get a good job. So you need to find a good program that can help you do that.
Fully English speaking is a must. And having the option to study in Jerusalem is definitely a plus.
You can really make professional connections here. The tech and business opportunities in this city are constantly growing.
And at the same time, it already feels like home.
Machon Lev definitely helps with that feeling.
Machon Tal just feels right. You get a fully accredited degree in computer science.
Or business. And learning in the base measures is as much a part of your college experience as secular studies.
It's not an afterthought. know you need to take off for the Chagim, and they always cater to the highest kashrut standards.
That's not always a given, even in Israel.
They don't just understand where you're coming from. They've specifically made the program for people just like us.
And since we're all from a Jewish background, it's easy to feel right at home from the start.
It's a smaller program too, so we all get to know each other pretty quickly.
You're not just a face in the crowd.
If you have a problem, you can go to your teachers or the people in the admin office.
They're not going to be that stereotype, where all they care about is a list of rules.
They honestly care about helping you.
With all the benefits, we can't forget to mention the cherry on top, the tuition.
It will not cost what you expect a college degree to cost you.
Take a look at these numbers. It really is the best of all worlds.
An English-speaking program in Jerusalem that values religious students. And it's affordable.
What more could you want?
So as you saw, our program is.
If you're applying to med school right now, there's a simple three-step
Oh, I'm
process
sorry.
that
The,
can help you make
the
your application
sound is
stand
just
out fast.
continuing. We are a college that costs, you saw that number right, it's about $3,800 a year. And if you make Aliyah move to Israel, it is free. And we offer two main degrees as separate colleges for men and women, but the two main programs in the English are business and computer science. And you can work with companies. We have you set up with American and Israeli companies in entrepreneurship opportunities as well in both fields. And there's also Israeli programs that you could join, but this is the JCT, the one that we're focusing on here is the fully English program that you can be fully credited degree that can be transferred to the United States if you wish. And so, yes, we are free to ask. It's not, we are not such a large program, but we have internationally over 100 students in each division and from around the world, as well as rigorous Torah studies, partially from Rabbi Yosef Tzvi Rimon, one of the major Torah studies educators in Israel, is part of our Beit Midrash. We actually have 13 current shiurim Torah studies lectures going on at a time. There's about 4,000 people in the overall campus of Israelis and Americans. And you are welcome to come and visit us in Jerusalem if you're interested at any point. And we're happy to open for any questions afterwards. But that Judy wants to add anything, I'm free to, but otherwise we're good.
All right, thank you very much. And if you do have questions, students, parents, counselors, please go ahead and put those in the Q&A. And in the meantime, I'll ask all of our participants to come back on camera at this point. And we do have a couple of questions that we'll go over as well. I think we'll have time for at least one here. So our question for the evening is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? So you can share your nuggets of wisdom with our participants here today. And we'll go in the same order as your presentation, starting with Rutgers.
Hi, thank you. Probably my biggest advice is, if at all possible, visit colleges, visit universities. Certainly, if you're planning on applying to certain schools, try and visit if at all possible. When you visit a college, don't just settle for the standard tour and everything. Talk to current students if at all possible. And if you can't visit a school, there are alternative ways to talk with current students and or recent alumni. They're going to give you the unvarnished truth about their impressions and their experiences at any given university.
I would say a piece of advice is just have an open mind, especially as you can see, there's such a wide variety of types of colleges ranging from large institutions to smaller. And as Drew mentioned, sort of visiting really helps to determine what is the fit for size, because I do feel that is a very sort of size and location are very important factors in sort of deciding a sort of a college experience, sort of what college you want, because a lot of it is 4 years of your life, is an experience, and sort of knowing that specifically will help you in the long run.
My piece of advice would be to use your resources. So you've got folks in your schools, in your lives who know you really well, that might even be willing to help you stay organized during this process, or maybe even drive you to some of these visits. And so ask for help when you need it, ask the questions that you have. Don't be afraid of a silly question because you've never done this before. So use the people around you, and that includes the folks in the admissions offices too. We exist to help you through this, so don't be afraid to reach out to us.
I agree with everything that everybody said. My number one advice is always visit the school that you plan on attending, because you will know when you visit if it feels like home, and you will know if it's not feeling like home. And I want to say, more often than not, the students that come to us as a transfer student applied to a college and went and never went to visit. And that's why that's my number one rule of advice.
I definitely agree with everything that's been said before, but I'll also add in stay organized. Definitely keep track of deadline dates. Every college can be a little bit different in terms of deadlines to submit your application. If there are any additional supplemental applications like at UCLA, those deadlines can be a bit different as well. So just try to stay as organized as possible to keep track of those dates so that you don't miss a great opportunity just because you're a day or two late.
Echoing what everyone else said, but also adding in, just something to think is to really have an open mind and look at what long-term you might be interested in. I'll give an example from my younger sister who really wanted to stay local in the NY area and visited one college, actually visited Brandeis, and thought the people were a little weird, and then proceeded to not get into the place she wanted at NY and went to Brandeis and was so grateful that she ended up being outside of the same group of kids she grew up with and was eternally grateful. So always think about what you might want in the longer arc of things, where to be, and not necessarily where you are this second, because we're not the same people and you're in a time of growth.
I know my colleague already went, but if I could jump in, take any list with a grain of salt, whether it's a positive list about how amazingly Jewish a campus is or a negative list about how anti-Semitic an institution is. It is likely coming from a place that has a particular lens on what it means to be great for Jews or what it means to be bad for Jews. Really, as much as my colleagues have already said, visit the campus, talk to current students, really get a sense of what's happening here and now, because all of those lists are likely coming either from a place of a particular bias or a place of outdated information.
Thank you so much. That's all great advice. Thank you so much for that. We have time really quickly for one more question, and that is, what is one thing you want students to remember about your school? So we'll do a rapid round robin.
The sense of family at Rutgers, New Brunswick, even though it's a 37,000 student family, you really feel like you belong here. I think that's evidenced by our first to second year retention rate, which typically runs about 93%. So of all our first year students, roughly 93% come back for at least their second year, year after year.
For Vassar, I would say the open curriculum, the academic freedom, the personalization, and sort of this self-pursuit of knowledge, I think sort of defines Vassar.
I think I would encourage you to remember Mason as a big university with all of the exciting resources that come with it, but without the attitude that sometimes being an more elder institution can bring. And so you'll find yourself in a place where you're very much appreciated and celebrated along with those opportunities.
My question my answers 2 and 3. Kingsborough, although it's a community college, I want to, the mystery about going to community college, or the stigma that it's not the place you want to go. It's not a 4-year college or university, but there's nothing wrong with where you start, it's where you finish. And at Kingsborough, although it's a community college, you get a wonderful education and the price is great, and you can always transfer to your senior college and finish at the place that you might have wanted to start, maybe you didn't get admitted to. So there's nothing wrong with community college. It's a wonderful experience and a great education.
When it comes to UCLA, I'll say education, research, and service, which are also the three pillars of the university's mission, and are really exemplified not only by the students at the university, but also our faculty and staff. So students will really find a lot of opportunities to engage in a variety of activities, both in and outside of the classroom. So I really encourage you to come explore all that there is in LA.
And from Machon Lev, if you have a passion for Israel, if you want to do something off the beaten path as an American, then consider us as a place where you can really do a fully English degree in a religious environment that will be catered specifically to you. So.
Thank you so much, everyone. That's all the time we have for today. But if we were not able to answer your question, please feel free to reach out to all of these admissions counselors and wonderful individuals here today. They'll be more than happy to answer your questions individually as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. So we'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. We encourage you to check back to the schedule and sign up for more sessions that are happening right after this one. And you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/Jewish Student Fair. That's strivescan.com/Jewish Student Fair. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.